Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Dua. I'm the Training and Learning Program Manager here at Tempo. And I'm really looking forward to your responses, your feedback today, your questions. It will help us make sure that you're having a good learning experience throughout these webinars and getting great value from them. For our presenter today, we've got Cheryl. She's our onboarding specialist, our senior onboarding specialist, and she's going to walk you through a lot of today's presentation. We're really covering what is Roadmunk, how do you get started with road mapping, and then some of the best practices that will guarantee you the best looking roadmaps and the most informative ones.
Super. Thank you so much, Dua. And welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the webinar. And we are going to be covering Road Mapping 101 today. So first, we'll talk about what are roadmaps. So basically, a roadmap is a high-level visual representation of strategy. It answers the questions of what, who, when, and how about your key deliverables. With this webinar, we're going to give you all you need to know to build and share boardroom-ready roadmaps that keep your teams aligned for 2024 and beyond. So Roadmunk roadmaps, they're very user-friendly. So when you do use the tool, you'll find that it's very straightforward and easy to use. Our visualizations that you can build with formatting and color templates are very beautiful. Depending on how you want to make your roadmaps and how you want to look at your data, they are very flexible. And they're shareable, whether you want to share your roadmaps internally or you want to share them externally to other stakeholders. You can do that within Roadmunk. And we're going to show you how to do all of this during this 1 hour. You'll get the know-how to quickly create roadmaps that connect high-level initiatives with day-to-day work. So one thing that we're going to cover is the elements of a successful roadmap. So first, we're going to talk quickly about roadmap naming conventions. We're going to go through account field standardization and management, role management, and we're going to touch on some template building. So first off, roadmap naming conventions. We find definitely following best practices within Roadmunk is very important because it keeps a standardization of your account and it helps keep it clean and consistency. So roadmap naming conventions, what we recommend is tier 1 being the department that this roadmap belongs to. Tier 2, the team within that department that is using this roadmap. And then tier 3, the subject of what that roadmap is going to be. So like in this example, it would be product management / strategy / fiscal year 24-25. So that's our recommendation. But whatever naming convention you come up with, if it's adopted by the users, then more and more end users tend to adopt that same naming convention. Okay, next we're going to talk about field management. So within Roadmunk, you will be using fields that carry or that contain the values that you apply to the task that you're working on. For instance, status. So the field status will contain values such as in development, up next, scheduled, testing, and those are the values from this field that you're going to apply to the task. The field management, you can see here on the left-hand side, we have 3 fields called status, which is very messy and not standardized. So we recommend, that's my left-hand side. We recommend the right-hand side where you have a naming convention for your fields that suggest who is this field for? Is it for marketing? Is it for product management? Is it for IT? Because, for instance, you could have IT using a field called status and product management using a field called status, but they contain different values, different terms for their statuses. So if you name it appropriately for who that field is to be used by, you won't get 3 fields called status, and then people just go in and they make another field called status because it's too confusing of which one they are supposed to be using. Next, I'm going to touch on custom templates. Within Roadmunk, we do have the ability for your account administrator to make custom templates. And this really helps your end users get started off on the right foot, because that way the account administrator can add the account fields that are properly to be used on the end user roadmaps. And the end user can just go in, start a roadmap with this template. So not only does it create that standardization, it helps get started on a roadmap quickly so that you can get started and then make the roadmap your own and then continue to build to that roadmap. All right, so next we're going to talk about portfolio road mapping, because everything I've just mentioned in best practices really comes into play when you're making portfolio roadmaps. So portfolio roadmaps are when you take a 2 or more source roadmaps and make a larger roadmap with it. And when you're doing that, you're bringing in roadmaps that other team members could be working on. So you want to make sure you're following the same best practices, such as using the same account fields, so that when they pull together in a portfolio roadmap, you don't have, if you're pulling together 3 roadmaps, you don't have 3 different status columns because everybody's using a different status field. When it's understood that you use the common account fields on your roadmaps, then when you pull your portfolios together, it's going to be really neat and tidy. And you'll see more of this in the demonstration so that it kind of illustrates what I'm explaining to you, okay? So now on to the demonstration. So first, what we're going to go over is some quick points of navigation within Roadmunk for the end users. So down on your left-hand side is your avatar, and that's where you can find your account settings. If I click on account settings, one thing I always like to point out is the email notifications that you can get with this tab. You want to make sure that these are checked off so that if a roadmap is shared with you, if you're mentioned in a comment on a roadmap, or if a task is assigned to you on a roadmap, that you're going to get this email in your inbox, okay? Close out of there. Next up is our support center. Help Center is our knowledge base articles, and this is where you can do some self-learning or find information on your own by keying in a key term, and there's tons of information in the knowledge base. As well, this is where you can get a hold of our support team through Contact Us, and they're a very knowledgeable group of people. They respond very quickly, so definitely take advantage of that. Next up from that are announcements. So if there's anything coming down the pipeline from Roadmunk, such as new feature improvements or webinars, you'll see that information under the announcements. And above that is notifications. If anything has changed on a roadmap that has been shared with you or that you own, you'll find it in the notifications section. Okay, and that brings us up to road mapping. So we're going to start with, how do you begin a roadmap? There are a few different ways that you can do this. First, I'm going to show you templates. So templates are ways that you can begin your roadmap, and you can use a standardized roadmap template that's created by your account administrator, or you can use a template that we have created for certain use cases. You can click in here and see if any of these Roadmunk templates meet your use case, and if they do, you can just use this template as your own roadmap. As well, under account templates, if your account administrator has created a template that they want you to use, they'll give you the name of what that template is. You can click into the template and again, use this template. You can start it empty, or you can also use the sample items, which is the data that may have been put into the template by your account administrator. So now we're going to start a roadmap from scratch. So when we go to our main roadmap page, we can then start a roadmap from scratch. Okay, so now we're going to start a roadmap from scratch. So on your main roadmap page, you would start by clicking Add Roadmap, and you're going to start with a new roadmap. So here we're going to put in the title of the roadmap. So we always recommend a naming convention to stick to for all of your roadmaps, because your roadmaps can get a very long list. So if you stick to a naming convention, then you'll know what to be expecting. So what your roadmap titles will mean. We recommend naming it by department, then by team, and then a term that is what this roadmap is going to be about. So you can come up with your own naming conventions, but this is one that we suggest. And create. So now what we see is the shell of a roadmap. And the two mandatory items on a roadmap are your items, which are your tasks that you'll be plotting on your roadmap, and the dates that belong to those items. So you can start a roadmap by adding in everything manually. So we're going to put task 1 here, enter, and then the date that goes along with that task. Now you can enter in start to finish dates if you prefer. Okay, you can also use bucketed terms. So if you're working on a roadmap that is more agile and isn't as date dependent, you can always use bucketed terms for instead of dates. Okay, so in this one we're going to use a start to finish date, and then you would continue to build on your roadmap by adding fields. Now, fields are what hold the values that you're going to be assigning to the task, such as owner or status, etc. So you already may have fields within your Roadmunk account that have been created by your account administrator. So you can click on the owner, for instance, and then when you click, you can enter in the value that are in this field. Okay, if you want to create a field and you are a collaborator with editor permissions, you can do so by clicking on the add button and down at the bottom, create new field. Now within Roadmunk, there are two different types of fields. One is a roadmap field, meaning it just belongs to this roadmap. The other is an account field, which is available across the entire Roadmunk account, and therefore yourself, you can put it on your roadmap as well as your team members can put it on their roadmap. So I'll show you how to create both. It starts out as a roadmap field. So we're going to add a roadmap field. Now you can use a list, which means you apply one value to the task. You can use team members, which will allow you to assign team members that are within Roadmunk to the task. You can use numbers, which is good for if you want to show the percentage complete of those tasks on your roadmap, or currency, which you could include things like budget. You can use multi-select, which will allow you to put multiple values to assign to that task, and then a free-form text field. Okay, now I'm going to create a list for this one, and then you add your values that you want to be within that field. Okay, value 1, value 2, and I'm going to create the field. Now that I have the field created, I can assign the values to this task. Okay, now if I hover over top, the tooltip tells me that this is a roadmap field. The tooltip tells me here that this is an account field. So your fields always start off as roadmap fields, and the way you make account fields is that you promote those roadmap fields. And you do that by clicking on the 3 dots, then you're going to edit the field. Down at more actions is where I would choose to promote the field. Right now, as it is, this is a roadmap field. If I promote this field, it turns it into an account field. So this is where you would think about the fields that you're creating. If you feel this is going to be a common field that is going to be used by other members of Roadmunk, that's when you would promote a field to an account field. And this is where I always recommend too that you use a naming convention for your fields, because not only you are working within Roadmunk, there may be other teams working in Roadmunk too. So for instance, here you can see my product management team has a field called status. My IT team also has a field called status, but those two teams use different terms for their statuses, so they need their own field. So if you name it properly, like this belongs to product management, this belongs to IT, then when people are creating their roadmaps, they know what field they should use on their roadmaps. And this way you avoid getting things like 3 fields called just the word status, and it causes confusion as to which one is the correct status field to be using on their roadmap. Okay? So now that we know how to create the fields, you can continue to build out your roadmap by adding fields and filling in the values for the tasks that they relate to. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to import a roadmap so that we get some data that we can then use the other features within Roadmunk with. Okay, so I'm going to import a CSV. Now, if you want to make a CSV to be able to import, we do have a template here that has all the necessary fields to start out with, and then you can fill in the data. So I have one already created, which I'm going to upload into Roadmunk. So you can tell I'm importing my CSV. So here we see it's working. Okay, what this shows you is a preview of what that CSV looks like, okay? So if you did want to make any changes, you can from this point if you like. Okay, if it all looks good, you choose next and then import as new. And you're going to update and overwrite all. And then you're going to see the information update in the background, and we'll bring all of the data into Roadmunk so we can then create visualizations with it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this sample line that we created, as well as I am going to take this field out. Okay, so now we have some data that we can start making visualizations with. Now first, before we do that, I'm going to open up the item card. So this is one of our items that's going to be on our roadmap. And I'm going to open this up just so I can explain to you what the item card looks like. Now we do have a new improved item card. So this may be one of the first times that you've seen this great new look of the item card. And it has the same that our past item card had. It's just kind of laid out a little bit different. So first you can add in a description, okay, rich text editor. You can add in hyperlinks if you wish, if you want to link it to another website, for example. You can add attachments. So this is where you can add any important documents or spreadsheets, etc., that pertain to this item. The linked item tab, this is where you can link items on your roadmap or on other roadmaps to this item. All right, sub-items, this is where you can add a sub-item and link it to a parent item if all of those tasks make up that parent item. And then ideas, this would come from our feedback and idea module where you've prioritized an idea and now want to attach it to this item on your roadmap. On the right-hand side, these tabs, first are the fields. So these fields are the same as the ones across the top. If you wish to make any changes at this point, you can do that just by pulling down the menu. And activity is where you'll see any changes that have been made to this item card, when it's been done and who it was that did it. And at the bottom, this is where you can add in a comment of your own. You can also tag members within Roadmunk on this particular item to bring their attention to it. Okay, so when I do that and add please review, okay, and when I save that, if Dave has his notifications, like I showed you in the beginning, set up, he will receive that email in his inbox, okay? So that's what I wanted to show you with the item card. So now that we have all of our data, we can start making visualizations with this data. We're going to do that by choosing Add View. Okay, now within Roadmunk, we have two different types of views. One is a timeline, which is a very date-specific view where you're plotting your items from start to end date. And then the other is a swim lane, which is a more agile roadmap where you can work with your tasks, not being that concerned about the dates that are assigned to those tasks. And I'm going to show you both visualizations. So we're going to start with a timeline. And at this point, again, we recommend naming conventions because you will get a lot of different visualizations created. And each visualization is showing your data in a different way. This visualization, I'm going to start with all data. So I'm going to name it appropriately. So I'm going to create now. And this is where you see all of my data laid out on my timeline. And it doesn't look like much now, but we're quickly going to use our formatting tool to make some sense of this. The formatting tool is up on the right-hand side. And when I pull this out, I can change the layout, the colors, and the dates if I like. So I'm going to start with the layout, and we're going to choose a header which will populate on the left-hand side. The header that you choose are those fields that we created. So for this roadmap, my main header is going to be department. Now, you can choose a subheader if you like. You don't need to. You can just stick with one header. But if you want to further break down that information, you can add a subheader. So I'm going to add stage. So now we have our tasks organized by department and then as well which stage they're in. Okay. Now you'll see these empty lines come up when you first create a roadmap. Those are empty headers, which just means that these headers don't have any data populated yet. So we get rid of those lines by hiding the empty headers, and that's going to clean up your view. Okay, you can add further granular information to your roadmap as well. So first, if you have a percentage complete field set up, you can add your percentage complete to your roadmap. You'll see that when I do that, it shows the percentage on the label title as well as shades the line to that percentage. You can also add a label suffix. So if I wanted to add who is the owner of this task, when I do that, the name of the owner goes on the label line. All right. Key dates and milestones, we will get into those and I'll explain further about what those are about. Okay. So now within a couple clicks, we have made a format that makes sense. Okay. A layout that makes sense. Now we're going to add some color. So first, what you choose is what do you want to color by? You can color by your pivot points, which for me are department and stage, or you can choose another field that you want to color by. Maybe I want to color by who the owner is of all of these tasks, okay? So for this one, we're going to color by department. Now we do have 6 color templates within Roadmunk that you can use, okay? These top 6 are already within Roadmunk. I'll choose Groovy as an example. It's a nice and colorful template. Okay. If you'd like to make your own template, so maybe you want to use branding colors, or maybe you want that a consistent template across all of your team roadmaps, so visually it, retains consistency. You can make your own template. Do that by at the bottom of this menu, add palette. Okay, you give that template a name so that you can tell your teammates that this is the name of the palette that I'd like you to use on your roadmaps, because once you create a custom palette, it's available across your entire Roadmunk account. Okay, so give it a unique name and copy the colors from an existing template. Then you're going to make it your own. So now we go back to the colors. Okay, you can tell this is a custom color palette. And I go down to my items and pull down this menu. Now you can see that my marketing items are in red right now. I can click into the box and I can choose it. Maybe I want it more of a purple color, okay? And choose the best shade I want, or I can put in hex code to populate that color as well. When I select that, now these items change to purple, and I just go down the line and change all these items to what I'd like them to be. All right. Now, dates, this is where you can alter the dates of your roadmap. My roadmap is very beginning date from January 9th to very end date, June 30th, 2025, okay? If you want to alter those dates, you can do that at this point. All right, so that's how you can format your roadmap. Now, with the timeline across the top, you can see that timeline, okay? So you can click on the timeline and you can organize this within months, quarters, halves, or years, whichever you prefer. And you can even mix this up. So maybe coming up, I want to see the 4 quarters of 2024, okay, and what's going on in those 4 quarters. This red line, this is your today line. So these are all the tasks that are happening today. And then in the past, I will take a look at the past in half years. I don't need to see every quarter. So you can mix it up how you like, okay? And if you want to focus in on specific quarters, you can use this time selector and drag and drop it so that you can look at maybe just these 4 quarters in 2024 all together. And then you can zoom back out so that you can get all of the information in your display screen. All right, so that's how you can change the information of the display of the timeline. Okay, so now we're going to talk about some of the other features that we have within Roadmunk that you can use on your roadmaps. So first we're going to discuss sub-items. So sub-items are like smaller tasks that make up a parent task. We're going to use custom color palettes as an example. If you see a step icon like you see here, this means that this is a parent item with sub-items. If I hover over top, you can see what those 2 sub-items are. Now, if I want to add a sub-item, I can do it in a couple ways. First, I can click into this label bar right from my roadmap view and add it to my item card by choosing the sub-item tab. Now, when I add, I can either add a brand new item to my roadmap and make it as a sub-item, or if there's an item on my roadmap that I know should be put into this parent item, I can just key in the title of that item. So I know Palette Manager is on my roadmap and it belongs under this parent item. So I'm going to type that and choose Palette Manager. So now we have a 3rd sub-item under our parent item. Now when I update and take a look and hover over top, I can see that there's 3 sub-items. If I wanted to see these as standalone items on my roadmap, I can do that by toggling on this icon, and it will show my sub-items as standing alone on the roadmap. If I hover over top of my parent item for a few seconds, it'll gray out everything else and show me what those sub-items are. They will fall either below or very close to the parent item on your roadmap, okay? All right, so the next feature I want to talk about is linked items. Many times you want to show that there's a relationship on your roadmap between items and have that visualized. So we call those linked items. I'm going to use influencer platform and social platform content to give you an example of this. So if I click on influencer platform and I choose the linked items tab, I can begin linking items. So there are 3 different types. Relates to means that these items are related to each other in some way, and I just want to illustrate this. Moves with means that the items that are linked together, if one item moves out by a month, for instance, the other item will move out automatically by a month. And is blocking, this puts a rule around it that one task has to be finished before the other task can start, okay? So I'm going to use moves with, and I'm going to connect this to social platform. So I just type in the key terms. Now we see gray lines as well as white lines underneath the menu. The gray lines are other roadmaps. So you can link items not only on your roadmap that you're working on, but you can link items to other roadmaps, say maybe a team member's roadmap or another one of your roadmaps that you own. So this is going to be connected to this roadmap. Okay, so social platform content, and I will update. Okay, now you can see a one icon. This one icon means it has one linked item. That number will go up as the linked items increase. If I hover over top, it'll draw a line to the item that it's linked to. Okay, now those lines also tell a story. There's a legend on the right-hand side. If I click this out, that legend will show me a couple things. One, what the color map means on your roadmap, as well as the linked item lines. If you see a solid line like mine, it means it's a moves with linked item. If it's dashed, it means it's blocking. Dotted means it's a relates to. And if it's a double line, that has come from an integration such as Jira or Azure DevOps, which would be the dependencies that are built within those applications that can be synced to Roadmunk. Okay, given this was a moving linked item, then if I have to move this item out by a certain amount of time, I can just drag and drop it to that time, and the social platform moves automatically by the same amount of time. So that's what linked items are. And the next thing I want to talk about is when oftentimes you're working with specific dates and you want those illustrated on your roadmap as important dates that stand out. So first I'm going to talk about key dates, and key dates pertain to a task itself. So I'm going to use paid media as an example. When I click into the item bar right by the main date field, I can see add key dates. Okay, so I'm going to add a key date. So there's going to be a phase 1 on this particular task, and then I just click into the dates and I choose when that phase 1 is going to be happening. Okay, and then I can add as many key dates as I like. So we're going to add a launch and the date that that's going to be happening. Okay, and then when I update, you can see the title and the date that goes along with those specific key dates on that particular task. Now, the other date feature that we have is pertaining to the entire roadmap itself. So this approximately 3-year roadmap, maybe there's some key milestones that I want to show as standalone items on my roadmap. And these are called milestones. You can add them in a couple ways. One would be from the milestone view. Okay, I'm going to add a milestone of a launch. And then I'll be adding the date to that launch that I want to show on my roadmap. Okay. And then the milestone type that it is, there is a certain amount of milestones already in Roadmunk, or you can add your own. And then with the fields, you add where on the roadmap you want it to show. So since department is my main header, I'm going to show it under department, and this is going to be a launch in the marketing department. Okay, so now when I go to my timeline, you can see my milestone. All right, so that's one way that you can add milestones. Another way is right from your roadmap view by choosing add item. All right, I can toggle to milestones and put in the title of what this is going to be. Okay, and then choose by clicking on the icon what type of milestone it is, and then you can drag and drop these milestones onto your roadmap where they're going to occur. So that's how you can add milestones. Okay, so in this timeline, we've gone over linked items and sub-items and the specific time indicators, milestones, and key dates. So I want to take you to show you a swim lane and show you what it looks like, as well as what all these features look like in a swim lane. So we're going to do that by adding a view. Okay, add view, given a name. Okay, and this one is going to be by stage. And again, this is going to be all data. Okay, and we'll choose the swim lane format and create. Now, the first thing that you'll notice is across the top, you don't see that timeline anymore. We don't need it because this isn't a date-dependent type of roadmap. It defaults to months and date. Now we can change the columns across the top to what we want it to be by using the formatting tool. Columns header, again, we're going to use our fields. So I want this to be by stage. So that will change the columns across the top. And then the row header is going to be my other pivot point. Okay, so I'm going to use department across the side for the rows. All right, so quickly you can see my data has populated my roadmap. I can choose the additional information again, which will update in the cards. Okay, so we'll add a suffix of the owner. Okay, and then you can color it as well with a color palette that you like. Now you can see as this is an agile roadmap, meaning that you can work with it very easily and change the values while you're working on this roadmap. So I can click into the card and I can change, say, the percentage complete if I wanted to. Maybe I want to reassign this to another person. Okay, so quickly I can do that while working on this roadmap. As well, if I want to, say, maybe change this from schedule to in progress, I can easily just drag and drop that task and easily change that stage that it's in. Now, the features that we were working with, I'll show you what they look like on the swim lane. First, sub-items. If you see this triangle icon, that means that this has sub-items. If I click on that triangle, it'll show me what those sub-items are. As well, I can show them as standalone within this column by clicking on the sub-item toggle, and now you can see them as standalone items underneath their parent item. Okay? And linked items, you can see them indicated by the one icon or the numbered icon that you see. On a swim lane, you won't see the lines that draw these together. You would click into the card and then look under linked item, the linked items tab, to be able to see what those linked items are. Okay. The two things that you won't see in a swim lane are key dates and milestones. And that's because these are very date dependent items. So those belong on a timeline. Okay. The one thing I do want to show you working with this swim lane is working with a filter. Now, right now we're looking at all data, and I created this visualization as all data. But there's times where you're going to be using filters to filter out specific information because you only want to show items that speak to a certain maybe audience, okay? So for instance, this is our filter area. Now, I know my upper management is always asking for the roadmap just containing what's in progress and what's scheduled. So I can add a filter. I'm going to filter by stage, and I just want what's in progress and what's scheduled, okay? And I'm going to update the filter. So now this is going to shrink down all of my information and give me just that information. And given that I'm asked for this commonly, I'm going to make this a visualization now, okay? So if I go to the three dots on the right-hand side, more actions, I can duplicate this view. And then I'm going to give it the appropriate name because now I've added a filter on it. So I want that to be in the title. Okay, this is by stage, but it's in progress and scheduled. And I'm going to duplicate this. All right. Now, when I go to my visualizations, I can see that, yes, I have my all data view, but I also have a filtered view that I can access in one click. I don't have to keep on putting filters on and taking them off. I've saved it this way, so it's accessible to me and saves me time, and it's named correctly, so I know right away at first glance that this is a filtered view. All right. So I'm going to go back to our all data view on our timeline because I want to show you how you can share your roadmaps. So there's two different ways to share. One is sharing with the people that are working within your Roadmunk account. And the other is sharing externally, so you can share with people that don't have a license, external stakeholders. To share internally, you go to our sharing center and click on the add button. And then you enter in the name or the team name of those people that are within Roadmunk. And this pull down menu will also, you can just scroll through the names if you like and add those people. You can also, if teams have been created by your account administrator, you can add teams which will automatically add all of the members that are in that team. I do want to show you as well, because you own this roadmap, you also can control the permissions that people have that you invite to your roadmap. So Bobby is an editor. He's a collaborator within Roadmunk, so he has editing access. Maybe as the owner of this roadmap, I just want everybody on this roadmap to have read-only access and not being able to edit it. So I can change that information to view only if I like. So now when I invite them to my roadmap, they will only be able to view it and not make any changes. So when I save, that will send an email to their inbox with a link to this roadmap saying that this roadmap has been shared with them. Okay, so that's how you share internally. Now, if you want to share externally, we do have the option to export your roadmap, and that's up on the right-hand side, the Export Center. So if I click on that, I can export to PNG, HTML, and URL. Okay, so PNG is great for, say if you wanted to export these to a PowerPoint, and you just can change up the formatting to what you feel looks best and download the PNG. HTML is really good if you want to embed this into another page, such as a Confluence page. And then URL is a very popular feature, and this will provide you with a link that you can send to your external audience, okay? So you can format it how you like. If you have your company logo set up, you can add your company logo. You can hide fields. Now this is very handy if you have fields that are for internal use only, such as budget. You can hide any fields that shouldn't be seen by external audiences. An auto-publish, you can put this to real time or to a schedule so that in real time, your items will update as you're making changes within Roadmunk, okay? You can click on linked item lines if you want to show those linked items that we created on the roadmap. You can password protect and vision statement. Publish to URL. So now this will provide a link that you can send to your audience just by copying the link, and then you can email them the link, and when they click on it, they will be able to see your roadmap, okay? If you make a lot of changes to this roadmap or you create a new one, you can delete the published URL, and that will delete it from being able to be accessed, and they can access your roadmap with the new URL that you sent to them, okay? So the last feature that I want to show you is a portfolio roadmap. So everything that we've been working on right now are source roadmaps, okay? A portfolio roadmap is when you take two or more source roadmaps and make a larger roadmap of it. Okay, so this is good if you want to collaborate between teams, or maybe teams need to get all their roadmaps together so that you can present this to leadership and show what everybody's working on, okay? You do that by going to your main roadmap menu and adding a roadmap. And then you want to create a new portfolio. So you give it a name, all right? And then you create, if you want it to be a swim lane or a timeline, and create. Okay, from there, it's going to come up. It's going to default to the names of all of my source roadmaps that I have to take, that I can put in this portfolio. So for this one, I'm going to choose my Avengers team and my Fallout team. And here again is where naming conventions for roadmaps come in handy, because they are very nice and organized, and easily you can choose your source roadmaps. Okay, so I'm going to update the sources. So your portfolio will always format by defaulting to the sources that these items are coming from. And you can change that up by just changing your headers and your subheaders like we did on a source roadmap. For the headers, I do want to bring your attention to, you're going to use existing fields. What you want to look for on a portfolio roadmap is these common fields. So that means that both of these roadmaps are using these fields, these account fields commonly, meaning they have populated the same information in those account fields. Those are the ones that you want to use to organize your roadmap, okay? So we can use department as a header, and then you can go on with your subheader and your item progress, label suffix, etc. Okay? So let's just do a subheader and we'll choose owner for that. So now we're going to be having our tasks by department and then who owns the task. And again, you can color. One difference between a source roadmap and a portfolio is a portfolio you can color by roadmap source. Okay, so that means that I can easily see which roadmap each task is coming from. So even though they're mixed up now because I've formatted it, you can see by the legend that the red belongs to my Fallout team and the green belongs to my Avengers team. So easily I can see which team takes care of which task on this roadmap. And given that a portfolio roadmap can have a lot of data on it because you can have multiple roadmaps on this. Using the filter is very useful because then you can filter down that information depending on which audience you're talking to. Again, if you wanted to show which departments, so maybe we just want to see the product department. Okay, then we update that filter. So you can see the product department coming from these two different roadmaps, okay? So this is a way that you can work with the filters and work with your portfolio roadmaps. I do want to bring you to the item view just to illustrate something that is very important, especially when working with portfolio roadmaps. So you can see my two different sources here. You can see my Avengers team roadmap. You can see my Fallout team roadmap. Now, what this illustrates is that both roadmaps have used the proper account fields that are commonly used for the roadmaps. Therefore, when we pull it together as a portfolio roadmap, all of this information comes together nice and neatly. So for instance, my Avengers team they use the same stage account field as my Fallout team. If they use different stage fields, I would have two stage fields side by side, and I'd have to clean up the information by moving the values back and forth so that I only had one stage field. So that's where it illustrates the importance of communicating and understanding what are the best account fields for you to be using within your roadmaps. So this can all come together really nicely when you do want to create a portfolio roadmap.
All right, amazing. Thank you, Cheryl. I'm going to go ahead and read some of the questions that we've been getting, and maybe we can answer some of those live. All right, so I'll go ahead and read out some of our questions. The first one that we had, is there a limit of sub-items or items to add to a roadmap?
As far as items, no, there isn't a limit to the actual items. As far as sub-items, that is one. I believe there is a limit, and my mind is telling me 25, but it's something that I would have to confirm. So I'll look back at the questions and I'll find your email address and I'll send that to you. Excuse me.
Actually, the person who asked that question was anonymous. So what we'll do is we will include any questions that we want to kind of answer for you after the webinar as part of the slide deck, which will also be shared with you in our webinar post email. Okay, so that one is done. And I believe these two questions are kind of similar, but I'll go ahead and read them both out to you. Is there a setting that you can use to keep things from being shown on the same line in the timeline view? It was one of the views that you showed today. And then another question around the same topic in the purple section in that view, there was Google Analytics and paid media on the same line. Is that on purpose, or is it something that we can change or change a setting for?
Okay, and yes, this definitely can be done. So the roadmap that I was using on the demo is basically the same roadmap, Google Analytics and paid media. And so this kind of will answer both of those questions. What you can do is within a header, if you right click on the subheader, or if there isn't a subheader, you would right click on the header, and then you would cascade the row items. This will make it so that it falls in a waterfall and each one is on their separate line. Okay. If you want to reverse it, you would just right click again and condense the rows. So that's how you can make sure everything's on a separate line.
Okay, awesome. Another question we have is about portfolio road mapping. Sorry, I'm making you jump into different views, but a quick one. When you change anything on a portfolio roadmap, does that also make changes to the source roadmaps?
It will if you are a member that the source roadmap is shared with and the portfolio view is shared with, then any changes you make on either will reflect on both.
I have a couple of other questions. Let me see. Do we have other templates available in roadmaps, or is it just the custom templates that we can create?
We do have other roadmaps, or sorry, other templates. So when you do go into the template section, these are the account templates that are custom made by your account administrator. We also have Roadmunk templates, and these are in these themes and already there for you to see if they meet your use case. So just come into this area, click in, see if these meet your use case, and you can use this template to start out your roadmap.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Cheryl, but I think it also comes with some sample data that can get you started, right?
Yes, 100%. All this data that's in here, you can use the template and you can either start it empty, meaning you just start with the fields and the layouts, or you can use the sample items, which means it also uses this data. Then you can, keep what you want, delete what you don't want, and then add your own data.
There will be more sessions to come. So we have a monthly session with different topics. Some of them are integrations. We got a lot of integration questions today. So keep an eye out for that invitation. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Cheryl, for an amazing presentation, and have a great day, everyone.